Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Blue Dragon 5 here,
And Jacob Weil.
and tonight we continue our salute to Jim Carrey with a 30th anniversary retrospective on Dumb and Dumber.
This time he brought along company with Jeff Daniels as well.
Yes, he did. Yes.
It's like so, Dragon. Which one is dumb and which one's dumber?
That is the age-old question, much like chicken or the egg. Who's the dumber one? I don't know. Honestly, it's kind of gone back and forth on it over the years. I think Lloyd might be dumber.
Yeah, it's entirely possible.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I think Harry seems to be able to pass it off a little better than Lloyd. So I'm leaning towards Harry being the dumb versus the dumber.
Even though you can't call either of them, calling either one the smart one would be generous.
Well, that is true. Anywho, yes. So again, famously, one of the big reasons we're doing this is that '94 was like the year for Jim Carrey. It was kind of his not the first thing he ever did, but kind of like the baptism into comedy stardom for Jim Carrey. Three movies in one year, all highly successful, one after the other. In '94, yep,
Turned him into a pop culture phenomenon.
yep, and as the story goes, famously, these three films were really special. They netted him the $10 million check, which he kind of wrote to himself as like kind of an inspirational kind of like high point to reach to know that he made it, and he did, and went with his father when he passed away, the man who believed in him. So it was always really this sweet story. This is kind of the end of the initial kind of trio of those three special films. And then we have something that's also special that hits an anniversary, high watermark, but it's not 30 years. It's the next best thing.
And what's that?
Well, it's going to be Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Jacob.
All right, which is 20th anniversary, I believe, right?
Yes.
All right.
All right. So,
and those are slightly different movies than the three we just covered.
now my associate here for at least these three. I mean, did you ever see Eternal Sunshine?
Actually, I have not. I haven't seen any of the movies.
Well, that's the thing. So none of the four movies we're covering in this inaugural edition of the event. My associate here has not seen any of them. So
Yep.
he's So this has been quite the experience for you, huh, Cubby?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, I have seen other movies with Jim Carrey, including the other collaborations that he's had with the Farrelly brothers. Me, myself, and Irene.
And you've seen Liar, Liar, right?
Well, of course, but that's not with the Farrelly brothers.
Well, no. What I'm getting is like with the other directors too. You've seen that, and you've seen the other Tom Shadyac movie, and I mean, have you seen Nightmare on Elm Street 3?
No.
Has nothing to do with Jim Carrey. It has something to do with the director. That's what I was asking. So never mind that. Throw out the third point. The point being,
but I have seen, like I said, I have seen Liar, Liar. I'm kicking my own ass. Do you mind?
Yep.
And of course, and there's also Bruce Almighty as well.
Oh yeah.
But this is my first time seeing both Ace Ventura, The Mask, and Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah. So, my thoughts on Dumb and Dumber. This was never my favorite Jim Carrey movie particularly of the three. However, it did pave the way for the man. It was the third in the trifecta. I respect Dumb and Dumber as like the church that as the rock the church was built on, so to speak. This is for both the Farrelly brothers and for Jim Carrey. And this is the one that kind of like. Jacob, are you unwrapping something?
No.
Okay. Anyway, so there's a lot of cleverness there in this movie, despite the gross out gags. This movie made the Farrelly brothers' career, but I think comparatively, I think you probably agree with me on this, Jacob. It's no me, myself, and Irene. But you have to build the you have to start the church somewhere. You have to start the foundation somewhere. You're pouring the concrete on this movie, and then we'll build to a me, myself, and Irene.
Yep.
So that's kind of always where I've stood on Dumb and Dumber. I like the cleverness of the premise, like these two dumb guys who think who don't know who don't register at all that they are inept, and they get kind of wrapped up in kind of essentially it's Hope and Crosby, but they're idiots. That's essentially what the premise of this movie is, and I really do like that aspect of it. It's a fun buddy movie. It's a road to movie essentially, but I think with a lot of the Fairley Brothers movies, famously, particularly the comedies, famously thin on plot, rich on characterization.
Yeah, I can see that. Road to Aspen,
Essentially, yes.
but also not a musical.
So, I guess not to understate it, this has always been the slow pony of the core 394 Jim Carrey films for me. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen by any stretch. It's still funny. Don't get me wrong, but I
Yeah,
think just it's not as like on point and lauded as the other two.
yeah.
Do you have anything you want to add, or do you want to read
Like,
some comments, or what do you think?
well, I'll address the comments first. Like, I accidentally, I will address the fact that I accidentally set this thing for yesterday instead of today. So if you're wondering why all those comments were about that,
Hmm.
I apologize for that. As I mentioned, that's a scheduling error on my part. It was always meant for today, not yesterday. So I apologize for that. So, like I said, this is my first time ever watching this. Again, like with all the other Carrie stuff, I was familiar with the movie. I was familiar with it, but funnily enough, I was less familiar with like the specific aspects of it than I was, Ace Ventura and the Mask. So this is like the one I was going in most blind with. so, so, so and honestly, I mean, I'll probably agree with you on the fact that this is probably not my, probably of the three we've covered so far, it's probably not my favorite. Honestly, I didn't laugh as much as I thought I would, or and there were quite a few moments that stood out, but just who knows, maybe it was just a me thing, but it just didn't really, it just, you get what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, I'm not thrilled with it either.
What do you mean you're not? Do you mean like with the movie itself?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, there are moments I like about it. There are definitely laughs to be had, but the cohesive. I don't think the. I'm not thrilled about it as a whole. I don't dislike it, but it's the Mask is like to me like that's the definitive Jim Carrey film, and like this is far from the Mask, but it is unique in that it's Jim Carrey as part of a duo, which I do really appreciate. So there's a lot of value to this film. I just don't think it's as like I don't think it can stand up to snuff or like can be like it's something everyone can kind of jam to like an Ace Ventura or a Mask or a Liar Liars
And
so have you.
the funny thing is, here I think Lloyd. I think personally, I think Lloyd is a bit more earnest of a character than like probably more likable of a character than Ace Ventura.
I don't know about that. I think people still they like Ace Ventura even if he is abrasive. I mean, it's still like, Ace is right about everything.
I know he's right. I'm just saying it personally as a character, but I'm just saying like, but the thing is, I think the movie overall is more entertaining and funnier than this one was.
Yeah.
It's like, and I know that you might cover this in the background, but this is basically what relaunched Jeff Daniels' career too, right?
Yeah, this was big. Jeff Daniels had never really done comedy until this movie.
Yeah. I read something along those lines. Like he was like a very well noted dramatic actor up until
Mm-hmm.
this point.
Yeah.
So I guess at that point it'd be a good launching point for the background.
Yes. So 91, the Fairley brothers, they were trying to get their start in the industry, and they had gotten a hold of this script. The way the story goes is that they had acquired a script, or at least like the basic outline for Dumb and Dumber from John Hughes of all people. That's
Huh.
the way the story goes. Now, I don't know how
Huh.
true that is, but that's the source of like where they got the initial concept from.
Huh.
And the Fairley Brothers, they kind of made it their own. They punched it up. They had like this weird working title, which I imagine might have been a carryover from John Hughes. I'm not sure, which was like a power tool is not a toy. Kind of a thinker. And it did not help. So for 2 years, they tried pitching this to every studio in town. They all turned it down. The title did not help. So that was like for 2 years. And eventually, they got the idea like, okay, hey, let's punch up the draft and we'll retitle it. We'll title it Dumb and Dumber. We'll give it a really simple, eye-catching title that because they knew again trying to break into the industry. I guess they knew like you're going to have like the script readers, the personal assistants who are going to like read through all the scripts and say, hey, we can develop this. So we're going to need a title that's going to interest the 90s kids, the 90s, the 90s intern crowd.
And with dumb and dumber.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what essentially that eventually got a foot in the door with New Line. New Line was very much they were. Of course, New Line now is a lot bigger than it used to be. Of course, now more so absorbed by Warner Brothers. But essentially, New Line was kind of an independent studio that kind of like rose to prominence after Nightmare on Elm Street. And they agreed to do the movie on one condition. They said, "Look, we like the script, we'll do it, but you have to pick two leads for this movie from this list of like 25, I don't know if I want to say all A list. I don't know all the names are on the list. Maybe like A to B list kind of actors. There was a great number of actors that have star appeal that would get people to see a movie called Dumb and Dumber. That was essentially what the idea was. 25 big names.
And New Line also did Mask too at that point too.
Well, I'm getting there.
All right.
So everyone said no. Not a one said yes. Everyone said no to this movie. And mind you, pretty much all almost all of these, I want to say all the setups, maybe at least most of them that end up in the final film were in there. So like the bathroom scene, the tongue stuck on the ski lift and everything, it was all in there. So everyone said no, probably kind of second guessing the material, I'd imagine. Two of the people that I mentioned, I think they were both going up for the same role, but it does make you wonder if they were in both roles. Steve Martin and Martin Short were approached for this. That does make you think. It does. Well, wait a minute. What would that be like? Because those guys are a famous comedy duo.
Yeah, it would be. I wonder what that kind of movie would have been like.
It is tempting because they do have really good chemistry.
They do.
And they have played what?
I said they do.
Yeah, and plus they both have played really dumb characters, which is kind of it does kind of make sense.
I mean, one of them was literally the jerk.
That's what I mean. Yeah, so the guy who played the jerk, and Martin Short plays vapid characters a lot, so
Oh yeah.
Anyway, however, this is Jim Carrey post The Mask. Like New Line just finished making The Mask with Jim Carrey, and they personally love the movie. Now, mind you, this is all three of these movies. Every time they get Jim Carrey for these projects, it's before Ace Ventura came out and was the massive hit that it was. So they still were like, okay, we worked with Jim Carrey on The Mask, and we really liked him. We don't know how the movie's going to turn out, but we liked it. Why don't you put him in this movie? By the way, in the midst of making this, Ace Ventura does eventually come out, and then it's like getting a deal with Jim Carrey. He got a lot of money for this. And it was like this. Apparently, there's like this funny story where it's like, okay, you're going to make Jim Carrey this offer, but basically, when they made him this offer, it was like, make sure you do it before Ace Ventura comes out. They didn't do it before Ace Ventura comes out, so Jim Carrey got a big payday because some idiot producer or something didn't like have the foresight. Okay, we're going to make the deal with his agent before the gamble happens.
Well, it worked out for Jim.
It did. Now, here's who it didn't work out for, but again, silver linings here. So the problem was, the Farrelly brothers, the Farrelly brothers came across Jeff Daniels. They wanted Jeff Daniels for the movie. Jeff Daniels had been a dramatic actor, had not done comedy, but they saw a lot of potential in Jim Carrey. He really liked Jeff Daniels. I don't know if it's because of the audition process or not, but he saw a lot of potential there as well. Studio, though, they were very dead set. I'm like, no, we don't want a dramatic guy. You want a funny guy in this. So,
fundamental misunderstanding that sometimes being a dramatic actor could be played for comedy.
Exactly. I mean, look at it's so weird how it works. Sometimes the dramatic actors deliver really funny performances, and sometimes the comedic actors deliver really dramatic performances. Look at Better Call Saul.
A great example that always comes to the top of my head is Michael Caine in Muppets Christmas Carol. He took the completely serious, like he was playing like a dramatic role. But the role, considering the movie itself, was absolutely ridiculous, considering it was Muppets.
Or again, even just Bryan Cranston from Breaking Bad. Again, like Hal from Malcolm in the Middle, one of the finest dramatic actors of our time.
Pretty much, yeah.
And vice versa. So, anyway, so Jeff Daniels, he was game. Everyone around him, everyone he knew in the industry, kept saying, "No, Jeff, don't do this. What are you doing reading this script? This will ruin your career. Have you read this script? Like, no." Like one friend said, like, "Hey, yeah, you should do it." Regardless, Jeff Daniels, he wanted to do it. The main reason people were like, another warning he had was that Jim Carrey's in this movie. He's going to overshadow you if you say yes to this movie.
Hmm.
And he said, well, yeah, Jim. One, he wasn't intimidated by like Jim Carrey overshadowing him. Which again, this is like a thing that Tommy Lee Jones bucked at, kind of balked at in Batman Forever. So this is like a genuine fear you could have if you're in a kind of a co-starring kind of situation with Jim Carrey, especially like '90s Jim Carrey. So there's a legit concern there, but I think Jeff Daniels he always cited that hey, Harry has a lot of big moments in this, a lot of like good scene stealing moments in this film. And that was kind of like his big thing. Even if I can't, again, hopefully we'll have good enough chemistry. Even if we don't, I still have like a number of really good scenes where I mean Lloyd doesn't have nearly as much as this, or at least he doesn't have like the big standout plot moments here. Anyway, so at the end of the day, what happened was Jeff Daniels, the studio tried to kind of dissuade Jeff Daniels by offering him a significant, pretty much half of what Jim Carrey was getting, maybe even less than that. They offered him like if Jim Carrey was getting $1 million, he was getting like 50,000.
Basically, peanuts.
Exactly. And Jeff Daniels, he didn't, he wanted this role. He even, and I think he probably knew that they didn't want him for this role. It's like, no, like the director's always Jim Carrey wants me. I want to do this, so I'm going to take it, even if it's at a reduced payday. Yeah. So again, the studio was kind of stuck with Jeff Daniels, whether they liked him or not.
He's like stubborn.
Well, again, Jeff Daniels did approach the role really smartly too. Oddly enough, he basically, the directors kind of gave him the note of like, okay, just play Harry as if he has the IQ of 9. Which is exactly what he did. And basically, what he would do before each take is he would shake his head violently and then play the scene.
It's like considering he looks like he's not even there half the time.
That also explains why his hair looks like that. But yeah,
I mean, it definitely adds to Harry's character.
yeah. Anyway, again, just in closing here, so this is the first Fairley Brothers film. Again kind of legacy of gross out comedy here that kind of starts here. They very much kind of went for broke. Like, okay, if we're only gonna get one movie, we got to make it count. We got to do the movie we want to make. We got to put all the stuff that films have that just not really done yet. And we're just gonna do it. These guys were Rhode Island natives, which is why the film is set in Rhode Island, and they're going to Colorado, kind of road to style, and yeah. So again, one thing I want to note here too is that Dumb and Dumber, much like a lot of the other Jim Carrey stuff, is franchised in rather surprising ways. Dumb and Dumber did get an animated show.
Surprisingly.
So again, all three of the original '94 mega hits for Jim Carrey all got him cartoons.
Which surprisingly both had pre-SpongeBob Bill Fadrabage and Tom Kenny in it.
Yep.
Coincidentally enough.
Yeah.
I did look into that. It's like wait, that was pre-SpongeBob.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of SpongeBob in the DNA of Dumb and Dumber, though.
Kind of.
Anyway, so you have Dumb and Dumber, the animated series. Then you have the prequel, Dumb and Dumberer,
which featured none of the original cast or crew returning.
That is true. However, I'm going to say this. Not a good movie, but it's one of those things where it's kind of like I know it's very much made in the kind of a turn your brain off vein. This is very much. I remember I saw this movie a lot. Like when it would air, like on Comedy Central and stuff. And I just, I'd seen this thing, man. And of course, the interest was mainly like, oh, I've seen Dumb and Dumber. This is like, the younger, like prequel of Dumb and Dumber. Who would ever think that? But it had some good people cast in it, and again, our actors playing the young version of Harry and Lloyd, they do a really good job. I'm not saying it's a good movie at all, but I can respect the effort put into the casting.
I hear people like I hear like two positive things about that movie. Like one of them, like as you mentioned, is like specifically young, like the guy who they got to play young Lloyd. He's like they say you could believe we play a young Jim Carrey.
I believe it's Eric Christian Olsen, I think.
And apparently the Bob Saget scene.
Yeah, so that is the other thing too. So the Bob Saget scene was very hilarious. It was always like a big takeaway from the movie. Here's the thing: it's that smart gross out comedy that we have. I'm not saying we don't have good gross out comedy here. I'm just saying like we have one of the ultimate like poo jokes that you could have, with the bathroom humor with Bob Saget. Just the idea that Harry basically had a candy bar in his back pocket. He sat on the radiator, so it's just this chocolatey mess, and he has smeared it all over the bathroom. Bob Saget comes home as the girl's father. He just looks in the bathroom and he's just utterly horrified. He's just cursing up a storm. He crapped, but he crapped everywhere. There's crap on the ceiling. There's crap on the mirror.
Yeah.
So it's just him losing his crap. It's him losing it over all this crap is hysterical.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, also fun fact: I completely forgot. I messaged Tiki about this yesterday when I just realized I was doing some ancillary research.
Yeah.
Eldon Henson is in that movie.
Who?
Foggy Nelson from Daredevil.
Oh my god.
He is the young Eldon Henson. He is in that movie. He plays he plays the bully, who is kind of on the team essentially. He plays like the bully that they kind of work into the whole special needs program.
Oh no. Like, and now he's Foggy.
Yep, but plus he's the idea of Eldon Henson playing essentially a tough guy that kind of like a tough guy, bully role, like Roger Klotz or something. It's just really funny.
Well, it's literally the exact opposite of Foggy Nelson.
Yes, hysterical.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, Brucey's got range even from back then.
So I'm going to say this, okay? So the other thing too is that Dumb and Dumber years later, it did get a sequel.
Dumb and Dumber 2, spelled T-O.
Yes, which, I mean, there's the novelty. We have Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels back, but, plot-wise, yeah, we really don't have a lot going on there. However, like, I don't know, man. I gotta tell you, I would point people to that prequel, because you know what? Not good, but, I think it feels like there's a little bit more of an effort put into that one than there was Dumb and Dumber 2,
It's kind of surprising considering the reception to both.
I know, right? Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, but I don't know. Again, you don't have Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels coming back, which obviously is the big draw for Dumb and Dumber 2. Sadly, that is the only draw for Dumb and Dumber 2. Everything else is like, well, we didn't really learn much in terms of our plotting, which is kind of going to be my biggest gripe with this movie that we're about to talk about. Anywho, let's get to it.
I mean, the only thing I remember, I haven't even seen Dumb and Dumber 2 because, I hadn't even seen the first one until literally yesterday and today. It's like, although I do remember, like, thinking, like, the basic premise that Lloyd basically pretended to be in a comatose state for, like, 20 years.
Like, that's funny.
Yeah, because it's totally something he would do.
Yeah.
It's like a 20-year-long joke.
Yep.
Anyway.
It is also really funny. Did you ever see, real quick, because this does tie into Dumb and Dumber, because they did this when Dumb and Dumber 2 was coming out. Jim Carrey was welcomed back on SNL to host for an episode. And they had this sketch called, basically the Carrey family reunion, where Jim Carrey and a bunch of the SNL actors doing impressions of Jim Carrey and Jim Carrey characters from the movies. One of them is Jeff Daniels as basically dressed as Lloyd.
Oh God.
Anyway, so it's really funny.
Speaking of which, I actually saw Carrey. Doing this, I actually also recently watched Carrey, not Jim, doing the night the Roxbury guys. They're doing the what is love thing.
Yep.
That was hilarious. Like, now that was funny.
Oh yeah.
The movie wasn't so good, but he wasn't in that.
No.
But let's move on.
All right, yeah. So, I guess breaking down the movie finally. So, I like that we have these vehicular introductions to both Lloyd Christmas and Harry Dunn. So it sets the tone. Two dumb guys trying to get through life with confidence, and again, much like kind of like a SpongeBob and Patrick kind of dynamic here, which these two guys dumb have no idea.
They're confident. They have confidence, but not much intelligence.
Exactly, IQ a 9. Possibly 7 in Lloyd's case, but we don't know.
And I have again. Forgive me if you don't know this, but is Lloyd's last name Christmas so they can work in the Merry Christmas joke later?
Here's the thing, I believe so, but there's a chance that was a happy accident. I don't know. I have to imagine it was intentional.
It's like okay. When he said that out loud, I was like, okay, that has to be intentional at this point.
Yeah.
All right, but so it's like, yeah, we see Lloyd pretending to be like this rich guy in a limousine asking for directions. But it turns out he is the limousine driver himself.
Yeah.
It's like, Lovely accent you got.
It was just like a Austrian. She's like Schwarzenegger. There's an Austrian accent. He says, "Oh well, good day, mate. Let's throw that shrimp on the barbie. Let's not." So he's again. We gotta set the tone there. Honestly, there is like a feel good component of the Fairley Brothers movies, and we kind of start with like the musical, like kind of like the background music while they're and here the boys go about their day.
Yeah. Quick side things like does Harry? Speaking of like comedy and things like that, does Lloyd kind of remind you of Alfred E. Newman?
Well, okay, so fun fact: Jim Carrey in real life he actually has a chipped tooth,
Okay.
but he wears a cap on it for all the other movies. He took it out for this movie, so based on that, he kind of has like an Alfred E. Newman look with the gap in the teeth.
And with then the big ears.
Yeah,
So I was just wondering if that was like an intentional thing or more of a coincidence.
I think it's just a coincidence in that case.
All right. I
I
just
want
think
to
it
make him
kind
look dumber, so.
of. I just think it kind of reminded me of Alfred E. Newman. Buy this
Right.
magazine or we shoot this dog.
Yeah, yeah.
or in this case, buy this magazine or we'll decapitate your parakeet.
Well, yeah. Well, Jacob, that was National Lamp. Alfred E. Newman's Mad magazine. National Lampoon's is the Shoot the Dog.
I know.
Yeah.
I was just cross referencing.
Gotcha. So, anyway, so we have the
It was a flow of consciousness kind of thing.
yes. All right, so mutt cuts. We have like the shaggin' wagon, this giant dog shaped van, which is one of the great symbols of the movie. Honestly, it's just this great this great dog shaped vehicle.
Oh god!
Apparently, Harry spent his life savings on.
It's like, yeah, which was not a good move.
No, no. So let's see. So
That's like I spent my entire life savings making that look like a dog.
yep. And again, these guys just kind of going for something in more instantaneous than kind of like broad spectrum. Like they're trying to do a worm farm. I have no idea. Like no one, you're never gonna make any money with a worm farm of a pet store. Like who's gonna buy that many worms?
Yeah. If anything, that would be more like that would be a good bait and tackle store.
Yeah, that's the thing. So that's kind of the gag of the movie, though. It really likes the fact that they are close to things at times, but they just can't. They just can't get it together. Okay, bait.
I mean, considering they live in a coastal area, like in a coastal state,
Mm-hmm.
they very well, and especially considering that's like close to the Bay Area, they could very well easily make a good money on a bait and tackle store.
Yep, but they're not. That's the thing. They're close. They're so close to a breakthrough like that, but they can't put two and two together.
And like they probably think it like equals 5 or something.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. So Lloyd's in love with Mary Swanson.
Yeah.
At first sight, which in real life, he actually did marry this girl.
For a year.
Yeah, for a year. I mean, I think they had a kid together. I think I'm not sure. Jim Carrey might have been married once before. I don't. Either way.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I think it was from previous marriage. Never mind. So, yeah, let's see. So they, she takes her to the airport. He is dead. He's on a mission. This movie. He's dead set on returning that briefcase to Mary Swanson. And I love the joke where he's running like through the gate to like little walk away to the airport.
It's like, sir, you can't go in there. It's okay. I'm a limo driver.
It's a good line. He runs and he falls right onto the tarmac. That was always a good joke.
And the guy's like, ooh.
Yep. Okay. So, meanwhile, Harry gets fired after feeding the dogs, and just mustard and ketchup getting all over them and ruining their coats before the big dog show.
Basically, this movie is the entire like the epitome of the phrase "stupidity should be painful."
Is that really a saying?
Well, I always hear it.
I've never heard that in my life.
Oh, well, I've always heard the phrase "stupidity should be painful." Like maybe it's a thing my family says, but this movie basically still stands by that creed nonetheless.
Sure. All right. So, I guess with the briefcase. Well, first off, let's talk about Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels. Their chemistry, man. It's the linchpin of the film.
It wouldn't have really worked if they didn't have this good a chemistry as they do.
I mean, they play it so well that these two guys are on the same wavelength of just complete stupidity and the whole SpongeBob and Patrick vibes. Like, these two guys are made for each other. Just admits, and but here's what I really love in the scene when they come back after their day. I love, and I wish there was a little bit more of this in the film. It's up front, and this is this thing I think the Farrelly brothers excelled at later in the other movies, like Me, Myself, and Irene, where you have, amidst the idiocy and the comedy, Jim Carrey has a really well delivered scene where the whole like I'm tired of this, I'm tired of that scene, you know, like I'm tired of being alone.
I'm tired of having nobody.
Yeah, that exactly.
It's like, I've had it up to here with this dump. We got walked by old ladies. Our pets' heads are falling off.
I love that. That too was really funny.
Which, funnily enough, inspired Ben Schwartz's line, "There's a fish on my head," in Sonic the Hedgehog. Like
we know where he got that from.
It's like he specifically mentioned that line as an inspiration for his take on that.
Yeah.
Because, another Jim Carrey movie.
I know. The fact that he's a ghost star in that movie is what I was getting at, but yeah.
Yep. It's like he specifically drew inspiration for that line. For our pets' heads are falling off.
That is still one of the funniest deliveries in this movie, though. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I remember even reading like Roger Ebert's review of it, or like a snippet of his review. It's like he said he gave the movie 2 stars. I wasn't fond of the movie, but even said he found himself laughing his ass off at the dead parakeet joke.
Yep. Just the fact they think it was like natural causes is just what makes that so exceedingly funny.
It's like, no, I bought them used. Used parakeets for sale. God. I could honestly believe him buy like you want to buy a used parakeet? Oh, sure, okay.
Yep. Anyway, so I'm getting is like again, I just love that amidst all this, you have it's like a hair of of pathos there, Which, I mean, later on, you get Me, Myself, and Irene. I think one of the grounding elements of that movie is the best example I have for Me, Myself, and Irene is Jim Carrey's character in that film, Hank. Well, sorry, not Hank. I'm trying to remember what it's Charlie, right?
I don't remember. I haven't seen the movie in like a decade.
Listen, I know it's Hank and Charlie. I'm just trying. I forget what Bailey Gates. Charlie Bailey Gates. That's what it is. So the fact that his character in that movie is, he's walked all over, which is where the whole dominant personality is comes from, basically, because everyone's walked all over him in life. But we see that he gets cheated on, and his wife, runs away with the limo drivers. A theme: limo drivers. Runs away with the guy, and he is left raising that guy. Tony Cox is raising Tony Cox's three black children, but he loves these kids,
and they love him and want to help him.
Which is, I think, that to me is the most beautiful thing about. I know it's gonna sound silly, but it's just I really think that's genuinely one of the most beautiful ideas in the film. That we see these 3 grown great black actors loving Jim Carrey as their father without without an ounce of irony. They truly love this man, and they look up to him, and they're worried about their father through the course of that movie. And that's kind of what we have like the seedling of here, is that this is what they can get from Jim Carrey, where he can put him in a ridiculous situation, but there will be just a genuine ounce of a genuine element of pathos right there. And I think this is where kind of that comes from, is the fact we were able to get that out of them, just amidst this whole thing of we seem to be so ridiculous, and yet, I don't know. So, our plot, the movie's plot, again, always been the weak link, the whole hostage kidnapping plot, and even in stuff like Me, Myself, and Irene, honestly, a lot of the Farrelly Brothers movies, we always have it's always kind of like a plot that no one cares about,
Like nobody ever, with these kind of movies, nobody can ever explain the plot of the movie. They always just remember these things that happen.
It's always a low-level criminal enterprise, or it's a very early Coen Brothers kind of idea, It's just very much sort of like a, Harry and Lloyd, they get wrapped up into this plot that no one cares about. Where rich lady's husband has been kidnapped and he's being hostage, but we don't really spell that out until the end, and even so, it's she doesn't really seem all that bothered by it when she finds out, oh god, the ransom was interrupted. It just seems like we've just kind of given up at this point. We just need bad people to try and stop them, and then we're gonna kill these bad people in unexpected ways.
It's like, yeah, she seems pretty well off, pretty doing okay considering her husband's been kidnapped.
Always a guy named Nicky or Dicky in these films, always doing something like this too. It's very much like it's just the Rhode Island kind of criminology, kind of criminalistics at play here for Pete and Bob Fairley. There's always a thing where it's always like a low level guy who's like, I'm gonna follow this girl cross country to get my money back, or like, oh, I'm gonna follow these guys cross country to get that money back. It's always,
Oh yeah,
it's the same thing.
yeah.
And admittedly, I mean, like Stuck on You is a little different. Stuck on You is more character focused because they're conjoined twins. They has to be character focused.
Is that Farley Brothers?
Yeah, that's the Fairley Brothers. Yeah,
Huh. All right.
yeah,
I've never seen that movie either.
yeah. And I'm not saying you don't have like a few exceptions there, but I'm just saying it's just so odd that the early ones, especially the Jim Carrey ones, kind of have that running thing where it's like, man, our plots they were so green with the plots before they eventually kind of unlocked it as time went on, I guess. And even so, I don't even know how well those plots really stack it because I mean, so far the most. If memory serves, I think the most complex, like most solid plot they probably have is maybe Shallow Hal. That's more like a moral, It's I don't even know if it's much of a plot. It's just more it's more of a character arc than it is a plot.
Fair enough.
I don't know. I'm not trying to like eight ways to a plot here. I'm just trying to
Yeah, I know.
As a fact, all I'm saying is it's kind of thin here.
And then,
Okay,
is that this movie's more about like the moment to moment rather than the overall plot, anyway.
But yeah, so the road movie of it all, we're in the Muttmobile, and eventually we trade the Muttmobile for a motorbike.
Yeah, after a lot of things happen.
Yeah,
it's like, and that was after they kind of had their initial falling out. And it's like when I thought you couldn't go get any dumber, you go do this and redeem yourself.
Totally redeem yourself.
Yep.
Which to me, I gotta be honest, every time I think of this movie, that is always my go-to Harry line. I do think that's like the best delivery Jeff Daniels had. Well, he has two deliveries. Okay, that delivery and right before it when he's mad at him when he explains like what he did wrong because Lloyd he basically went in the wrong direction when he took the wrong exit and they went completely in the other direction.
All because he wanted to like play like do that whole prank where you like someone sleeping and you plug their nose.
Yeah.
And instead of going to Aspen, they're on their way to Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yes, so I love that.
It's like, you drove 1/6 of the way, which I'm surprised he even knew how to do fractions, first off.
But we don't know how right he is.
Well, true, but I'm surprised that he even knows what they are.
True.
It's like, to a different state. So it's like, everybody makes mistakes, little Harry.
No, I love the lines right before all that, Jacob, where he says, oh, it's just a tad. We're a tad out of way. A tad, Lloyd! I just love the way he says, a tad, Lloyd!
It's like and I said, after watching this, I am kind of like agreeing with you. Like, Harry does seem to be a little bit, have like between the two, there's like maybe one brain cell, and he seems to have it most of the time.
Yeah, and like for example, like they're on the trip and we have this thing. I bet you I'll get you to gamble before this trip's over. This is like
Nope.
Okay, I bet you. And he says, oh, I'm gonna get you though. See, he's not realizing he's already instantly lost. That's the thing. So again, that's how you know who's dumber, or who's the dumber one here. Or it's just the fact that,
like I said, the two have like one brain cell between the two of them, and Harry seems to have it more often.
Yeah, it's the fact that, okay, so Harry's been tricked, but by the same token, Lloyd doesn't realize that he actually pulled the trick off. Like, that makes him dumber to me.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. So, along the way, we have, like, famously, we have Lloyd's fantasy, which is kind of a runner through the movies. We always have, like, Lloyd with a fantasy.
Yeah, I love, like, Lloyd imagining his life with Mary.
Yep, old Merry Christmas. And like while he's behind the wheel, which famously has the the famous silly kung fu fight with the chef.
Yep. Not to mention the headlight knockers.
Yeah, the headlight knockers. Oh yeah, but yeah, the fact he reaches into there's always that element of darkness with the Fairley Brothers, where in the midst of like this silly kung fu fight, he reaches into the man's heart, the
and,
man's chest, pulls out his heart,
and then puts it in a doggy bag.
that's hysterical. He puts it in a little doggy bag and gives it back to him. Like that's what saves that gag right there. It's like he put in a little doggy bag.
Yep, it's like if only Molo Ram did that.
Yeah,
Instead of crushing the heart, he just puts it in a doggy bag. Like, hey, here you go.
there you go. Back to the fire.
It's like, well, you're good to go. I just needed to just like here. You want me to pull out your heart, right? Sure. Here you go. So I was like, and then of course the headlight knockers, which basically turns out to be attached to a semi, and pulls him back into reality.
It's better when the headlights are attached to an actress, but
Yeah, of course, but
Yep.
yes, I won. Like all that's doing is reminding me of Cars.
Yeah. Good.
I know. Lassiter, you sneaky dog.
All right. So,
Sorry.
okay. Anyway, we go to the rest stop, and we have these two things happen. Okay, so Harry, he's chatting up a lady and getting her number, but he's poured gasoline on himself, and while lighting a cigarette, he accidentally lights himself on fire as he's trying to get that. I got a really good memory. Just tell me the number. And he's like yammering, oh, like previous number. He's like, oh, just give me the number. And it's just so she's,
It's like I think she would have been more receptive to it if he's like, oh, do you mind? I'm kind of on fire at the moment.
Oh, someone has a high opinion of us. No, I'm literally on fire.
And that, kids, is why you don't smoke at a gas station.
Yep, that's what you get. That's what you get in the '90s, kids. Right when we're tapering off of that sort of behavior.
I mean, granted, it's not like the level of Zoolander, of course, but
God.
where the entire gas station blows up.
Just
But
the
still,
fact they had like a gasoline fight, just
yep. Granted, it's not that level, but still, don't play with fire around gas.
true.
It's very dumb
And dumber.
and dumber.
Okay, so we should also talk about sea bass.
Sea bass at the diner.
Yeah, so they went to the
Sea
diner.
bass at the diner.
Yes, they went to the truck stop with sea bass there, and they basically like Harry throws the salt over his shoulder, like the whole superstition thing, and Seabass doesn't like that, and he spits on it, like hawks a loogie on his burger, and Lloyd has just the idea to get back at Seabass.
Honestly, those burgers didn't even look really good to begin with.
Well, of course not. It's a truck stop, Jacob.
I know.
There's only one good truck stop in the universe.
And what's that?
The one from Kid Cosby. It's the only good truck stop.
And that's not even really a truck stop, is it?
Oh, it actually is a truck stop.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the whole thing. It's a truck. It's basically the whole town essentially is like an extended truck stop.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's like the only good truck stop.
I still need to watch Kid Cosmic.
You do, if you want to see like the best. You want to see the best truck stop in the galaxy, my friend. Kid Cosmic.
I do want to see the best truck stop in the universe.
Yeah.
Plus, I need to get caught up on McCracken.
We all do.
It's like, but seriously, like, hey, Dragon, I'm a stickler for those kinds of burgers, and those burgers look gross.
No, yeah, exactly. They did not look appetizing.
I mean, granted, the loogie didn't improve it or anything, but
didn't do any more harm.
I know.
Anywho,
for all we know, probably added nutritional value.
Okay, so Lloyd has an idea he saw in a movie once where basically they stick Seabass with the tab by tricking him into like waving one. So like oh yeah, beers. We'll buy you guys a round of beers. And it's like he usually offered to pay our tab, and informs Harry like they got away scot free in the movie. Like, oh no, they tracked him down a few stops like a mile down the road and they slit their throats.
It's like those two guys at the diner. They didn't pay their check. Oh, come on.
It's a good pool. That's a good pool.
Thank you.
Okay, anyway. Right. All right.
Right.
Okay, so anyway, so Seabass does eventually catch up with him in a very unconventional manner. The absurdity of this gag is very Family Guy-esque here. This is a moment of like, so Lloyd's in the stall, and he sees like written on the stall like basically a good time's gonna happen here at 12. Sorry, at
Two
2:15 a.m. sharp.
sharp.
I two things. Okay, one, just the fact that someone's gonna plan that far in advance and have it be that specific at
15 a.m.
2:15 a.m. Not
sharp.
midnight. Okay, it's not midnight.
Not
It-
2 a.m.
no, it's not 2 a.m. and it's not midnight. It's 2:15 sharp.
a.m. sharp.
A.m. sharp. Just okay. That's someone who's real attention to detail on that one.
You know what the most surprising thing of that part is?
What?
That Lloyd knows how to set a watch correctly.
It's a good point. Actually, maybe he wasn't on time. Maybe it was just like approximately 2:15. Lloyd just this, it's just we lucked out with the time.
It's like, but sure enough, when he checks the watch, it turns 2:15 and the door slams open.
I should mention this too. I was thinking I'd mention this in background, but the DVD release has kind of like I guess kind of an unrated cut where they have like some extra extended scenes and some gags that, again, unrated in quotes. It's not really going much further. It's just like some alternate takes. And one of them, which is so weird because they edited this out of the final movie, and you can tell it's an edit. So in the extended version of this truck stop moment was, he burst in, and he's like sliding. He slides Lloyd down as he says, like, "Go to my happy place. Go to my happy place."
I think I saw that version.
And Seabass, he's basically he pulls his pants down. He's wearing like I think it's like a leopard print like mankini sort of thing. He's wearing like a leopard print like undies.
It's like, here's your happy place right here.
Exactly. And when in the final movie, the one you have on Netflix and everything, he gets knocked out by Harry putting his foot out that's on fire. And Seabass, the pants are down, but we're missing the gag, which always feels like, guys, if we're gonna, that's the gag though. How are you gonna cut that out? Like you still have Lloyd saying, go to my happy place. But you're just missing the very obvious punchline, and yet the guy's pants are still down. We missed it.
So yeah, it's like so yeah. So that entire scene is ridiculous because he does set his foot on fire.
Mm-hmm.
Then Seabass is about to go after Lloyd, and then all of a sudden, like Harry slams the door open again, knocking Seabass out, and then sticks his fire into the toilet to put out the fire.
Yep.
It's like how many more things can go wrong? And then we realize that's only the halfway point of the movie, basically.
Yep. Okay, so we should talk about Joe Mental.
Mental, yes.
Yes, so Joe Mental, played by the wonderful Martin Starr. He is basically he's the gas man.
Like, how do you know I have gas?
Yeah, so basically Joe Mental, he's got this bad ulcer, and he's just trying to, like, he's basically I believe it's again, it's Dickie or Nicky, whatever. Again, this guy's a real no name, like the orchestrator of this whole ransom plot. He sends his goons basically to collect the ransom, and they're following Harry and Lloyd to get the money back. Which I still question how the heck they're following. They're keeping up with them during this whole trip.
Well, it's not hard to follow a dog van.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if you look at this movie, by the time of like at which the events happen, where they skip out, even if they were following him, like by the time they leave, and then okay, so they're gone, they left the place, so we're gonna have to try and find them somehow, and then they track him down to that motel, and then like from the motel on, where I know how they're following him, but getting to that point,
Yeah, but it's one of those we don't care moments.
That's true. But by the way, just to kind of shout them out while we have those two guys in the heart-shaped tub, which is a really funny visual.
It's like this is the life, ain't it, Lloyd? Or ain't it, Harry?
Yep. We have Fred Stroller in outside the phone booth. Like he's the really obnoxious phone booth guy. Like, hey, get off the phone! He punches him through the glass.
Punches him through the glass. Yeah.
Which is great.
It's like and not to mention it's actually a love motel.
Oh yeah, there's a second honeymoon place.
Yeah, like a no-tell motel, basically.
pretty much.
Like, like you see in Rocco's Modern Life.
I love that episode.
I know. Oh baby, oh baby, oh baby.
Well, that's a different episode, but that's good too.
I know, but it just reminded me of that too.
Rocco.
Yeah. It's like, you want to stay the night? Okay.
Oh boy.
That's the right episode, though.
Fix the wallaby's weenie.
Oh god. You can tell that's early Nickelodeon because they're able to get away with stuff like that.
See, here's the thing, just naively. My favorite part of the episode is the whole knock worst nightmare platter thing. That's what I think's really funny in that episode.
Oh god.
Just the idea like this: they're going to this place, and Heifer, like he basically best is like the eating challenge, and they're rewarded with a giant Oscar Mayer weenie mobile. Like that's priceless to me. I love that. Like as a '90s kid, it's like that is like the coolest thing I've ever seen. I love that.
An Oscar Mayer weenie.
Well, no, it's the fact that he wins this car by eating like it's all these like the game show prizes, including the new car,
and it's a hot dog.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Anyway,
Rocco's was definitely something else.
God bless it.
God bless it, indeed.
Anyway, so Joe Mental, he's along for the ride, pretending to be like a distressed motorist, and anyway, he joins him for the journey. We have like some gags, like of course
and keep in mind the entire time they think that Harry and Lloyd are some kind of criminal masterminds or something.
Which is such a great runner, especially when they eventually do get to Aspen.
Yep, they think they're these uncanny geniuses that are always like one step ahead of them.
They killed the owls. We killed their bird. They killed the owl. The message.
It's like how do you off an owl with a cork anyway?
Well, we just saw it.
It's like maybe it was just a coincidence. Maybe it was just a coincidence.
Good. All right.
So he has like he pretends to be like the hitchhiker, distressed motorist, which turns out to be a pretty big mistake.
Yep. It's so great how we turn it on its ear. There's the fact that he is. Is the fact that this guy is getting more. He's getting almost unjustly punished. He was in the car with these two idiots, and there's the like, you want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? Yeah, that whole.
But then you remember he decapitated their parrot.
He did. That's the thing. So he decapitated the parrot, but he's
parakeet. Or is it a parakeet? Yeah,
it's a parrot. Yeah, it's a parakeet.
Yeah,
which they sold to a young blind boy
for $25.
Possibly a crippled blind boy. He's in a wheelchair.
And then you hear on the news later, like this kid who was sold a dead parrot.
I just thought he was quiet.
Oh God!
Polly want a cracker?
Oh my God, that's just sick. As a wise man once said, "That is sick and wrong."
Sick and wrong.
But it's hilarious, though.
Dear God, is it? All right. Anyway, so
I mean, it's absolute dark comedy, but it's goddamn, it's funny.
Speaking of dark comedy, we the way we kill the gas man.
It's like, yeah, it's just like. Although it's like I still love the fact that it's like usually we don't pick up hitchhikers, but I got a good feeling about you.
Yep. So, death by atomic pepper. Basically, it's the Hot Ones' death. Like one of these days. Have you ever seen the show Hot Ones on YouTube?
Yes, I've seen a couple episodes.
Did you see the recent one with Conan?
Actually, I have not seen that one.
Oh, you gotta watch the one with Conan. I think they end like a season with it or something. It's like Conan to promote his new travel show.
But I have seen a couple episodes of them. I don't remember specifically the ones I've seen, but I think it was the Idris Elba one or whoever, where he's like, oh, what the? He's like, oh God.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have seen this show. What as you were saying about the Conan one?
Yeah, Conan. He basically like Conan apparently has like a really high tolerance to hot sauce and like spicy things, and it was like everyone was in astonishment. Like he was like the way he maintained himself. Like he's feeling a little bit of heat, but he oh my God! Like when it hits him. But before that, it's like it's amazing. He's so cocky. You've never seen Conan this cocky and in control. It's a Hall of Famer, Jacob.
I'll have to give that a watch.
Yeah. All right. So.
And so it's like So it's like, yeah, he convinces them to try the peppers, but then they prank him by putting the peppers on his burger.
Which, a
And
guy with an ulcer shouldn't have something that spicy.
the burger and that burger actually did look better than the one at the truck stop.
There you go. What didn't look good is Harry and Lloyd using ketchup to cool down, ketchup and mustard to cool off.
Yep. I wonder if that scene in the end of Scooby Doo, the first live action Scooby Doo, was kind of inspired by that.
I absolutely do think that is the case.
All right, that makes sense because they've used ketchup to cool down the spiciness. So
I think absolutely it's a reference to Dumb and Dumber.
All right, then I was always like, is that even when I watched this movie, I was like, wait, is that what Scooby Doo is referencing?
Mm-hmm.
All right,
I'm pretty sure.
All right, so it's and as you can notice, we like talking about food on this channel
from time to time.
Yeah, I mean, Drag, we once spent 30 minutes talking about ice cream, and you and Tiki spent 20 minutes once talking about donuts.
Did you watch that yet?
No, but I want to watch it.
I'm saying, come on, we keep talking. We've been talking about the donut thing. You still haven't watched it.
I know, but I experienced the ice cream thing.
Yes, but not the donut.
I know, and I remember it was during the Court Jester movie, the Richard Simmons movie. Yeah.
Okay.
So I remember what episode or what the movie is that you guys did that in, so it's on my to-do list.
Anyway, Death by Atomic Pepper, which seems to be a hot one's demise.
Well, actually, it was more like because Mental was planning on giving them poisoning them with rat poison, and then after they accidentally give him the hot peppers, and they think they give him medicine thing, but actually it's the rat poison.
I love just the realization, they give him pills are good, and then he sees the little black film canister of pill bottle.
You bitch.
You son of a Johnny.
Yeah, but then
he keels over.
And turns out they accidentally kill a guy. Accidental manslaughter.
Yep, and he wasn't the real health inspector at all.
Nope.
Yeah, so again, their idiocy has saved their bacon. So he was going to kill them even after finding out you guys just returning a briefcase. You didn't even know what's inside. And it's the fact that, wrong place, wrong. He was going to still kill them.
Yeah, but he understood, you guys weren't a threat after all.
Yeah, so that's what I think is really great about it, is the fact that he did actually have that moment of understanding before his demise. Right before. We'll tell you if you eat your burger. So, it's great.
Yep.
All right. So, anyway, so again, after they end up on the bike and everything, they get to Aspen, Colorado, finally. We have this gag where they're kind of freezing as they contemplate their next move, and Harry's freezing, trying to warm himself by a trash can fire, and he says, "Oh yeah, here, take this other pair of gloves. My hands are getting all sweaty."
You had an extra pair of gloves this whole time?
Well, yeah, it's Colorado.
I'm gonna kill you, Lloyd. I'm gonna kill you.
Harry, you got that look in your eye.
It's like I'm gonna kill you, Lloyd.
Harry? Then of course he's strangling him on the picnic table. Your hands are freezing.
He's speaking of which, I love Jeff Daniels' performance. I'm gonna kill you, Lloyd. It's he's threatening to murder his best friend, but it comes off as absolutely hilarious.
It is. It really is.
And then your hands are freezing. It's just one final taunt as he's being killed.
So they realize. The briefcase got thrown. He was going to throw the briefcase into the water, and in a psychotic rage, and they just basically. They see when it got flung, it opened on by hitting a rock or something,
and that immediately mends their friendship when they see what's inside.
Yep, it's copious amounts of cash.
It's okay, we're gonna just borrow a bit just to get by.
We'll keep track of it with IOUs.
It's and then we'll get on our way.
We'll get only what we need.
Yep. Welcome to the presidential suite, gentlemen.
Yep. They go to the Danbury Inn, which it's a made-up hotel, but it's based on they use some real hotel location, but they made up a name for it. The Danbury Inn.
Kind of like the Overlook Hotel.
There you go.
Except less murder. Well, attempted murder. The same.
Al's died on the premises, so
I know, but I almost the same amount of murder.
Sure.
Or red rum, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
It's like,
So
so,
it's
go on.
something I want to note here. Well, like actually, you know what? We have the spending montage. Let's talk about the spending montage.
It's like, yeah, they immediately let the money go to their head.
Yep, they buy like a lamp. Like, I don't know if it's a Lambo. They buy like a big red sports car, and they're like tipping everyone all over the place. They're staying in the presidential suite. They're buying all sorts of like clothes and everything. They're literally like white like drying their tears and snot with money.
Yeah, it's like this is probably where the movie actually picks up in terms of
Yeah,
its story.
I think so. We have this gag of like they're looking through the paper and it's like, oh wait a minute, that's her, that's Mary. Who? Just the fact that Harry's going like who? Just completely forgetting why. You know, just the whole completely forgetting the IOU
they,
thing.
they were living at large.
Exactly. So here's what I want to take a moment to highlight this. I'm going to get to the whole the newspaper thing. So we have this dichotomy of gross out gags and clever humor here where it's I'm not trying to say we can't have clever gross out gags, but it's just interesting that we have like we cover like the Fairley Brothers taking their big shot at it here. They cover every single bodily function joke between this and just in the whole span of their careers. But let's just say even just this alone, we could cover all but one of the bodily function jokes, and something about Mary covers like the missing one. You know, so we got spit, we got snot, we have I forget if we have vomit. We might. Well, we start a vomit joke. So I mean, it's kind of that. The point being, even that one, we might just cover that one later. The point being, not us, but they might cover it down. We have there's urine with the bottle gag with the cop, and then of course the famous turbo laxative joke with the toilet. So
Harry, I hope you're not using that toilet. It's broken. And then that look of realization on his
I
face,
love
like,
the music cue. Oh, really? I'm just shaving in here.
oh my
Anyway, so it's the
god.
fact that we can cover all it's like a bucket list stuff of the gross, that other movies before them have shied away from and never really like done it like a legit gag. The closest thing we had probably done on this level is like Blazing Saddles.
The bean scene.
With the beans. Like that's the closest we ever really got to like fully going for it with something.
Get more beans, Mr. Taggart?
Yeah.
It's like, I think you've had enough. I love that movie.
Exactly. So while we have that, on the flip side, I think we have some really great, clever jokes. Like I love the idea that they're reading the newspaper. I love that Lloyd can't read the newspaper, yet Harry again, who could just very simply just take the paper and read it himself, or read it for the both of them. We just have like Haas Anul, like which is like host annual. It's like just the fact that like he has to translate it practically.
And the fact that Harry can actually kind of read a newspaper pretty much flawlessly.
So that's the chemistry right there. Is the fact that Carrie's going for it here. It was like Hast Anul and the it's great.
Yeah.
One of my favorite, honestly, I think my favorite joke in the whole movie is they get in the town, they're looking her up in the phone book, and he's going through all the names, and the last one is right. He says Swanson, and then he says like, oh wait, what's on the case? Samsonite, Mary Samsonite. I love that he had the name and then he directs him to Samsonite.
And yeah, that was completely weird.
Love it.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so now they have a name. They get him ready for the ball, which is another like the pretty woman montage of them like pretty and Lloyd up and like you're getting the haircut, just keeping the bowl cut.
Including took an angle grinder to his toes.
Yep, and then of course they end up in like the orange and blue like leisure suits with the top hat and tails. And also, I think overall, what we're saying here is, the rich can get away with anything so long as they have money.
Yep. And of course, Jim Carrey's gone from a different colored suit, from Hawaiian shirts to a yellow suit to now an orange one.
It's so funny how multi-colorful, his multicolored his wardrobe is.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, so I want to call this out too. So again, plot wise, again, we have the whole FBI subplot, which comes out of nowhere, doesn't really make much sense, and it basically gives us like the Deus Ex Machina for how Harry can get shot and be okay at the end.
Like, it's like, what if you shot me in the face?
That was a risk we were willing to take.
That's just mean.
Yeah,
But fortunately, as proven in reality, it's usually when aiming, you usually try and go for the center of mass rather than something a smaller target.
true.
Which is why people usually wear bulletproof vests and not a lot of stuff on the head. It's
Yeah.
harder. Basically, it's harder to aim for the head.
Hmm.
I don't know. I look into that kind of stuff.
All right, so here's another kind of like a convention we have with the plot here. But again, I can't really fault him too much for it because it is the '90s, and we're not really reinventing the wheel on this yet. But we have kind of like the friends are both going after the same girl plot.
Yeah.
It's a little manufactured.
Apparently, it's not the first time it happened either.
Nope, Frida Felcher.
Which is a very unfortunate name.
Yeah.
And we don't need to explain what felching is.
No, we don't.
I mean, I know what it is. You know what it is, but so we don't need to talk about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, very, very unfortunate name.
God.
Which, according to what I've read, we actually meet Rita Felcher in Dumb and Dumber 2.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that is indeed the name that we gave her. But yeah, that's her. Yeah, Kathleen Turner plays her.
Of all people, they get Kathleen Turner to play Felcher.
Yeah.
Oh God.
They do. It sounds like she doesn't actually like do felching, but she basically just it happens to be her name. At least that's the implication.
Well, yeah. I mean, if she does it, I mean,
Oh,
who are
come
we?
on. I don't want to picture it.
I said, who are we to judge?
Yeah.
Anyway.
She's skipping out on all the checks.
Yeah.
She's felching on all the checks.
Yes, let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, let's just go with that definition of felching.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so the fact of the matter is here, we have this thing where, through misunderstanding, Harry, he tries to broker like an introduction for Lloyd, but ends up, kind of like charming Mary more than Lloyd ever could. And they end up, going on like a little skiing date. They're skiing in Aspen here, where it's like, yeah,
which is nice.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff that Jeff Daniels was sold on here. Is the idea he gets his tongue stuck on the the ski lift, and they're having like this snowball fight, just nailing her in the face with a snowball.
All the while where Lloyd is waiting at 10 a.m. in the morning at a bar at the hotel lobby bar.
Yep, and he's stuck with like this is kind of funny though. So Lloyd seemingly, mind you, again, it's probably hurts like trying to get details on these two guys, but just the fact that he kind of has like a girl like going up to him and basically flirting with him, and he just doesn't care. I don't care.
The heart wants what the heart wants, right, Dragon?
Exactly.
And he wanted Mary.
He wanted Mary. He wanted a Merry Christmas, darn it.
Yep, exactly. It's like, and of course, that's not the like. Of course, he learned that he was standing her up. I mean, she was standing him up, and the most important thing that he learned that day, we landed on the moon.
Yep. Of course, in hindsight, it's kind of fun. It's kind of some of a Nostradamus gag. Jim Carrey, Man on the Moon.
What do you know?
No way.
We landed on the moon.
Which, by the way, that whole Man on the Moon joke, that was completely improvised. That was just literally was like it was a prop that was there, and he just kind of saw it and he got an idea.
Well, I mean, it totally fits. I mean, that's the funny thing is you can't even tell it was improvised.
Oh yeah.
You'd think Harry. You'd think by that you'd think, yeah, Lloyd probably wouldn't know that we landed on the moon.
I buy it.
At that point, again, at this point, I'm surprised he even knows what the moon is.
Now, something interesting to note here is the main reason we have this whole misunderstanding, the whole the both going after Mary plot is that if Lloyd, if when they show up in Aspen, Colorado, and Lloyd walks up to her and says, "We found your briefcase," the movie ends a lot sooner than it's supposed to. That's the thing, 'cause if he meets her and tells her why he's there, then the movie ends. That's why we have to. They're basically padding it with the other thing.
Yep. And so that's why he like kind of chickens out and has Harry go and charm her instead.
Exactly. Anyway, so Lloyd finds out, and he ain't too happy. So he basically poisons Harry with Turbolax.
Oh God! A whole like, and not just a little bit of it. He basically dumps the entire bottle into the guy's coffee.
Yep. Now it's fun story here. Clint Eastwood actually walked up to Jeff Daniels and he like told him like, "Oh yeah, that happened to me."
Like, you mean Clint Eastwood actually got pranked with laxatives?
Well, the way the story goes, it sounds like less pranked with laxatives, more like he was basically the whole thing. He was at a girl's house, wasn't feeling well, and he learned afterwards the toilet wasn't flushing. More so that part of it.
Oh God!
So that whole side of it sounds like, I don't know about the whole like laxative thing, but basically Eastwood just not feeling good at a girl's house, and then so he like walked with Jeff Daniels like after he saw him after the movie. He's like, "Hey, I want you to know that happened to me." So that really landed with me.
Oh God! So we know that Clint Eastwood watched and related to Dumb and Dumber.
Yep, the good, the bad, and the ugly, right there, right there, folks.
Yep, it's like Clint Eastwood, one of the highestly acclaimed actors and directors of all time, related to Dumb and Dumber.
Yep.
I mean, did he say anything about the movie otherwise, though?
I don't know. That's what he told Jeff Daniels, because Jeff Daniels was obviously the main focus of that scene, so he's complimenting him on that scene. I don't know if the point being, we know he saw the movie if he saw that scene, so he saw the movie. So
So I'm not wondering if someone should ask that if we actually see Clint Eastwood, like, hey, did you actually like Dumb and Dumber?
I mean, Clint Eastwood, like, yeah, he's very open minded. I mean, Clint Eastwood did like a movie with a monkey, so he's.
I mean, I know. I'm just saying, like, it just seems like obviously he's done a lot of comedic stuff. I'm just saying, like, Dumb and Dumber is not one you'd usually associate with Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
I mean, if you liked it, that's good for him, I guess.
It'd be more interesting, like Clint Eastwood, like had an interaction with Jim Carrey, just given like their history together.
What kind of history did Clint have with Jim?
Well, actually, it's two things. Honestly, it's the fact it's less history. It's more the fact that Jim Carrey does like an impression of Clint Eastwood that he's used a bunch, and beyond that, if memory serves, if I believe Clint Eastwood was in the Deadpool movie, not that Deadpool, believe me, I know
the movie called The Deadpool,
which every time I would check for like updates in the Deadpool movie since 2008. First thing that comes up always like the Deadpool. Like, no, not that Deadpool. No.
the movie called The Deadpool.
Yeah, so in the Deadpool, I believe Eastwood's in that movie, and Jim Carrey actually has a small role in that movie.
All right.
But the two are technically connected, if I'm remembering correctly. Clint Eastwood is in the Deadpool, which I'm pretty sure he is.
Nice.
Anywho, in fact, they've always been kind of correlated. That was Jim Carrey back in the pre-94, kind of time period. So it's the fact that,
back when he was doing bit parts, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So that was like the bit parts era for Carrey. So, a little connecting thread between him and Eastwood, especially the whole, like, look at the mask, and do like the, you better ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky?
Well, do you, punk?
Yeah, Okay. So, anyway, so Lloyd and Mary, with Harry indisposed, Lloyd, he brings Mary back to the room, trips her going up the stairs. First one to the top stairs. He grabs her leg. It's just, it's funny. And she married that man briefly. Okay, so basically he reveals, he drove Mary, I drove 2,000 miles here to return your briefcase. I just wanted to ask you, do you think there's a chance?
It's not, no.
Yep. I mean, she hardly knows him, so it's not really a big shocker. So
it's like not very good. Like a 1 in 100.
1 in a million.
So you're saying there is a chance?
So it's I'm more surprised that she's not upset finding out he interrupted the whole ransom money thing.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, concerning the whole ransom thing, she doesn't seem too concerned about it.
Yeah. See, to me, the more interesting plot twist would have been if she ransomed her own husband,
Yeah, that probably would have been a more interesting story, to be
which
honest.
ultimately is kind of what they did in the Three Stooges movie. But
I haven't even. That's the. You mean the Farley brothers?
yeah, the Fairley Brothers one. Yeah,
I haven't seen the Stooges movie.
that everyone's always coming down on that movie. That movie has a lot of good stuff in it.
I mean, I'm a big fan of the Stooges.
Yeah, I mean, the casting of the Stooges is flawless. I think the three actors they got to play the Stooges. Jim Carrey was initially supposed to be in that movie, by the way. He was supposed to play Curly.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
They said they got like Will Sasso for him, I believe.
Yeah, he was flawless as Curly though. I think the cast they land on was perfect.
Chris Diamantopoulos was Mo.
Mm-hmm.
And who was Larry again?
Sean Hayes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I had no idea Sean Hayes. I mean, could do it that good. Got that good a Larry, but he is.
It's like I really need to. I need to watch that movie. I think it's
Oh
on
yeah,
Disney. I think it's on Disney Plus actually.
sure. Well, again, via the Hulu thing probably, but yeah,
It's because of Fox.
yeah.
So I'll double check on that eventually. But
Okay, anyway,
is it actually good?
I mean, look, the stuff with the Stooges is good. Again, the plot against the Fairley Brothers Kryptonite, just plotting. It's like I can't promise you a good plot. I can promise you Act One. It feels like the Three Stooges, and then it goes from there. And it's just basically the Stooges in kind of a modern setting. So take it for what you will. But here's the thing. I think it comes back in the third act. I think when they do the third act and everyone's kind of comes back together and everything, it's like okay, this is the Three Stooges at this birthday party is pretty funny. I think it kind of like it stumbles, but it kind of finds its way back. So I can't say it's bad, but it's not great. But I mean, I think that if you like the Stooges, you should watch it.
Don't get me wrong, I love the Stooges, and I'm glad that they actually recently got their new their YouTube channel set up for all like I have all the old shorts on there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I've been having a blast with that.
It's in Smurfy's Law in the comments. He says, and Sean Penn was considered for Larry. That is also true.
Yep.
I forget who the third was. It was Sean Penn, Jim Carrey, and there's a third guy who was initially going to play, I guess, Mo, but I do not know who's going to be Mo.
You imbeciles. I just think Mo going, you imbeciles. Like, you're a victim of the circumstance. No. Mel Gibson, according to Smurfy's Law, which I'm probably guessing is a joke.
Yeah, I don't think that was. Here's Mel Gibson was a big fan of the Three Stooges, but I don't think that was actually.
Yeah. I mean, I love this. I basically grew up on the Three Stooges. Like I grew up on like the Three Stooges and Looney Tunes. That influenced my sense of humor. That's it. Like, that's it. That's why I'm like a big fan of slapstick and physical comedy. It's because I grew up on those things. So, all right. So, where were we?
All right, let's see. Okay, so we bring it all back to the hotel room, which does feel a bit like a budgetary constraint. We did a lot of stuff at this hotel. Harry and Lloyd, they make up. Harry ends up getting shot, but it's okay. He's wearing a vest, and he's also a terrible shot. And the FBI, we reveal they prepared Harry, as the bad guy, takes aim at him, but they didn't take a chance on the bad guy shooting him in the face.
He's like, what would happen if you shot me in the face?
We were willing to take that chance. All right.
Like, according to, it's like, it really was. If I remember correctly, I was like, wait, never mind.
Well, that was quite the adventure.
Yep. We had a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yep. And we still don't have the answers.
Yep. It's an enigma. The inner machinations of Smurfy's mind are an enigma.
They're also anathema.
Okay.
Just gonna throw it out there. Okay, so Bobby Swanson, the husband who we didn't give a crap about. The husband is his comeback.
It's like I want you to meet the nicest guy I've ever met. Lloyd, die!
Basically, they frame it like that scene from the end of Die Hard, where it's just goes wanton, shoots him, like, bang, 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 and then we reveal, like, Lloyd. Oh, right, hi.
It's like I owe you, and he's like, you can tell like Harry, like Lloyd hates his guts.
Oh yeah. There we go. Benicio del Toro.
All right, it's considered for nobody. Mel Gibson was in consideration.
I don't know how serious Mel Gibson was considered for that. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I think Benicio del Toro probably would have been a good Mo as well.
I mean, look, Mel Gibson being considered for Mo is based on the fact that he all those Lethal Weapons movies. He loved the Three Stooges. That's the main reason you would throw Mel Gibson in there for that casting.
I was just saying Benicio del Toro would be a good Mo too.
Yeah, probably. Well,
Like,
I don't. Well, maybe I don't know.
but Chris Diamantopoulos was probably good cast, probably the better choice.
I don't know how funny like Benicio del Toro. I'm not saying just because he's a dramatic actor. I'm saying I don't really think he's done like. I don't think he's. I can't really see him being super funny.
Well, I mean, look at the movie we're talking about.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Even bearing that in mind, I don't know.
I'm just saying, look at how Jeff Daniels turned out. So maybe it could work, given the right material and the right directors.
Anyway,
all right.
So, the ending. So the end of the movie is flawless here, and this is really interesting. So Jim Carrey demands a rewrite of the ending of this film, and
it's like they initially agreed to go on the bus full of the bikini models.
Yes.
It's like, but Harry, but it was like, no, he'd be stupid enough. He'd be too stupid, and he'd pass it up.
Yep. Just the fact, hey, we're looking for some oil boys for our modeling road trip here. You guys want in? Do you know anyone? Like, no, but there's like a town 3 miles that way that can help you. It's like just Lloyd going, "You idiot!" And he runs up. My front's a little slow. The town's that way.
Like, who knows? They probably could have gotten them good money too.
Well, of course, that's what I'm saying. Like someday our ship will come in. It's like literally just happened, but they don't realize. That's the humor I really liked in Dumb and Dumber. The fact they were so close to something like that. It's almost like the gag from the Dana Carvey show. It's like it's the pranksters gag. The idea of these guys who can't get the practical jokes right, where they go to the drive-through, they get the food, they pay for the food and they drive off without getting the food. That kind of gag, It's the idea that these practical jokers who don't really get anything out of the prank, but they think they did because that's stupid. So it's like kind of tantamount to that.
So they pay for the food and they're like, "Oh, we sure got them."
Exactly.
And like, wait, what are we gonna do about our food?
Yeah.
It's like, and it's a shame because they were basically been in the paradise they were looking for the whole time.
Yep, and it just ends with them playing a little game of tag.
Yep, on their way, like because they basically got all the assets they bought with the stolen money taken from them.
Well, they'd spend everything too, so yeah.
Yeah, like they spent all the money, everything they bought was taken from them, and they didn't get any of the money in return.
Nope.
And now they have to walk over 2,000 miles back home.
Yep.
When they could have easily just gone on a bus being oilmen for a bunch of bikini models.
Yeah.
Be honest, Dragon, would you have taken up the offer in that case?
Well, I'm no dummy, Jacob.
It's like, are we dumb? And which one, between the two of us, which one is dumb and which one's dumber?
Oh, come on. Don't throw that at me.
All right. Well, okay. I'm dumber then. I'll be dumber. Okay. It's like, all right, never mind. I was just kidding anyway. It's like, but Dragon, you definitely take the opportunity to do that. Be the oil man.
Jacob, sometimes you got to take one for the team.
Fair enough, Dragon.
But if I have to oil a bunch of beautiful women, you know what? Gosh darn it, I'll give it a shot. I'll give it my best. I'll have to massage all those shoulders and what else? Who knows? I'll have to.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to do what you can to survive, right, Dragon?
Sometimes and within reason, but yeah.
Yeah, within reason.
Yeah, I mean, no felching here, but yes.
Well, yeah, that's gonna draw the line at that one.
Yeah.
No skipping out on checks.
No.
Because that's what we mean by felching.
Of course, that's exactly what we mean by felching. No felching. No felching here.
Nope.
No pulling a sea bass. No skipping out on the checks there. We know how sea bass feels about felching. Apparently, he's big on felching, or at least repercussions for felching.
Oh yeah.
Every day at 2:50 in the morning.
He didn't pay his check.
We do the felchers here.
What do you do?
You can meet me at this truck stop at 2:15.
Wait, not 2:00.
No, 2:15 sharp. I gotta change into my mankini, darn it. Takes 15 minutes.
Takes 15 minutes. We gotta wax first, though, right, Dragon?
Exactly, of course. He's gotta look his best. It's 2:15. All the discerning eyes are at 2:15 in the morning.
Oh god. Like I said, you gotta take one for the team sometimes.
But not that far.
Not that far, no.
No, always pay your check, kids.
Yes, do not felch.
Yes.
Do not felch on your checks.
Or anything else, but yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So
I think we've learned a lot here today. I don't know about you. I think we're less dumb for having done this podcast.
If anything, we might be more dumb by doing this podcast.
Well, that is entirely possible.
Ron, Dragon, maybe
we're not just dumber. We're 30 years dumber.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, Ron, Dragon, who knows? Maybe we are smarter by watching this, but who knows by how much?
I think the question is less: are we dumber by watching this, but is our audience dumber by watching us talk about this?
That's probably the better question.
That is the better question. If anyone says, "Oh, you guys are so dumb for doing like a 30th anniversary retrospective for Dumb and Dumber," oh yeah, well you watched it.
Yep. Like you've watched it this far, right?
Yeah, and that means if we're dumb, then you're dumber.
I mean, we're an hour and 26 minutes into this, so you have no one to blame at this point but yourself.
There you go. All right. So in all seriousness, we want to thank the folks for tuning in, though.
Smurfy's Law, Slasher Fred, Little Blue, and CG. I think they were all from last night, but thank you guys still for trying to tune in. Sorry again for my, to put it aptly, dumb mistake last night.
Yep.
I think it's sheer genius. I think he's talking about our podcast. If you're talking about that, then thank you, Smurfy. Thank you, Smurfy, for those kind words.
Thank you.
So I was like, so Jack and I are gonna go off and play tag as we walk our way home.
Yep.
So good night, everybody.
Tag, you're it.
And stay dumb, my friends.
Or dumber.
Stay dumb or dumber.